Hey everyone, I'm going to show you how to paint this cute holiday elf using acrylics. If you're new to my channel, please be sure to like this video and to subscribe so that you can see more fun tutorials from me in the future. Alright, let's get to it! We'll be using an 8x10 pre-gessoed canvas, and we're going to be using 5 different types of paints. We have a primary blue, primary yellow, primary red, titanium white, and Mars black. And we will also be using 3 types of brushes. We have ourselves a 3/4 inch flat wash brush, we have a number 10 filbert brush, and we have a number 3 detail round brush, okay? And you can find a link in the description for all the materials that I'm using here today, so if you want to follow along with me and want to get these supplies, be sure to visit those links. Okay, I also have my water and my towel here. So as you remember from the last video, we made a Santa Claus, and now we're going to be making his small partner in crime, his elf, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start by making our elf costume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flat wash, I'm going to dip it in my water, get it nice and wet, and I'm going to take some blue, and I'm going to take yellow, and I want to make the color green. Okay. And I'm going to add white to that, so you get this really cute Christmas green. And maybe add a little bit of white to that, or yellow to that. Okay, you're gonna get this really nice green. It's almost like mint green, almost. So once you got your brush, it's nicely loaded. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and add a column of green, just like so. And if your brush is not entirely, if you're having trouble pulling the paint, just adding a little bit of water to your brush will go a long way. Now I'm gonna do about like 2 inches width for this top portion here, and I'm also making sure to get the tops and sides of my canvas. So once I'm done with that, I'm also going to do the bottom portion here as well. So I'm just going to do about the same. I'm going to make the equivalent of like maybe 2 inches or so, and just fill this in. Okay, so now that I have this all set, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to make the skin of our elf. So go ahead and rinse out your flat wash brush, because what we're going to do next is we're going to be making a skin color. So to make a skin color, all you really need to do is to make an orange. So I'm going to take some yellow, I'm going to take a little bit of red, I'm just going to mix those 2 colors together. Okay, and then once I kind of have something there, I'm going to add in some white. Okay, so you see how it already makes this really nice color here. Okay, again, I said the same thing with the Santa painting. If you can go as pale or as tan as you want for these guys. So I think I'm happy with the color that I have here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave a bit of space in between the green and where the skin's going to be. So I'm probably going to do skin up to there and skin up to here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and fill this whole part in here. Okay, so that's how you make the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this dry, and then once we're done, we're gonna go in and do the details on his face. All right, so stay tuned. Now that we have a relatively dry canvas, what I'm gonna do next is we're gonna do the actual facial details of our elf. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move on to my detail round. I'm gonna dip it in my water, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip it into my black paint. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to start making his features. So I want to start with his nose. I think that's the way to kind of figure out where everything else is going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to head over to maybe a little under halfway, and I'm just going to make a circle for our little elf nose. Okay. Just like that. And it's important that your brush is nicely wet so your paint can glide. Okay, cute. It's got a little nose. And now what we're going to do next is we're going to do his eyes. So his eyes, they're kind of like they're just black little eyes, so I'm just going to go ahead to the side of the right. I'm just going to go ahead and make a circle. And then I'm going to fill that part in. Okay. And I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. Okay, very easy, very simple. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to work on the rosy cheeks of our elf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to my number 10 filbert. I'm going to dip it in some water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make rosy cheeks. So I'm going to take a little bit of red. And I'm going to take some white. Combine those together. Now, I don't want this to be too red, but I don't want it to be like too pale. I just want it to have like an essence of that rosiness. So I'm just gonna very lightly coat my brush. Now I'm gonna head over to my elf, and under his eyes, I'm just going to pat in the color. I'm patting it in because I don't want it to be like so blatant. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put some rosy cheeks on him. Okay. And we do the same on the other side. Okay. So those are his rosy cheeks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our detail round and dip it in water to get it nice and wet. And I'm going to dip it again in my black paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a large smile. So I'm going to start at the cheek. I'm going to make a curved line just like so. Same on the other side. Just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect those two lines together. Again, make sure that your brush is nice and wet so that it helps to carry the paint. Just like so. And I do want to have like a bit of an open mouth with him, so I'm just going to go to the bottom where his mouth is. I'm just going to make sure that there's a little bit more of a line, thicker line there. Okay. Okay, just like so. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and add in details on the trim. So with my detail round, once again I'm going to just use my black. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add in the lines to the trim of his coat. And again, it always helps to have a very wet brush to do this. Now I also want to put some, I also want to put a little bit of a, like laughing lines on him. So once again with my detail round, I'm just going to dip it in some black. Gonna make sure it's nice and wet and ready to receive. And what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna make sure I don't have a lot. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a line going out like this, another line going out like this under his eyes. Look at that, he's already grinning, super excited that it's Christmas. Okay, now one other thing I wanted to go ahead and add was a little bit of detail for his hat. So I'm going to go ahead and make a triangle with that same green that we made before. So I'm going to use my detail round and I'm going to go in and use that same green like we used before. Once again, just to recap, to make the green, it was just some blue and some yellow and a little bit of white combined, okay? So once I have the color, I'm going to go ahead and make a triangle shape up to where his skin is. Just like that. And then I'm going to make another line, like I said, a triangle. Okay. And then you're just going to go ahead and fill in this part here. I'm going to use my filbert to actually go ahead and fill this part in. Okay, wonderful. So I do want to add that little white poof that's on the end of his hat. So once again with my filbert, I'm going to go and clean my brush and add some white to it. Just like so. Now what I'm going to go do is go to the tip and add in a little white poof, just like so. Okay. Just a little something white there. Cute, huh? Okay, and now we can go back in with the detail round brush that we have, and we can use black once again to just go ahead and outline this part here. And if you've made a little bit of, spills or mistakes, don't worry, you can always go back in with the color and just add the color. Now just looking at this, I do want to add a little bit of like a decorative trim to his front here. So I'm just going to take my detail round, I'm going to dip it in some white, And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make like little loop-de-loops just like that. Okay, now this is just to be like a nice decoration, a nice little like just addition to his costume here. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to go ahead and add in some little dots into his eyes. So I'm just going to use my detail round with white, and I'm going to put a dot into his eyes. That is how you make a little elf. And stay tuned for the next video. We'll be making a reindeer version of this painting. Be sure to like this video and to subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos from me in the future. See you later!